guys, and just like that, we're back. We're back. I just wanted to come in a couple minutes early before this starts. It says it's going to start at 11 a.m. Hope the sheriff doesn't make a fool out of me. So let's see who's in. Hello, Kat. Hello, Aggie. Hi, Serena. Uli. Stacy, how are you? Robbie. Juicy Tequila Bobo. I know you're eating this case up. I know you are. And it is insane. Hey, Tammy. Oh, I love your avatar there. I do. Preschool Granny. Hello. Hello. There's Shannon, Victoria, Roxanne. Hello again, everyone. Debbie Whitehead. What's going on? Debbie Wallace. Gamer Guy. This case is crazy. This case is nuts. Hi, BT. Why do we have conflicting news reports on who was driving? And I'm already starting to see stuff. I don't mean in this chat particularly, in other places where people are arguing, and I'm like, nothing to argue about, because it seems like there's still a lot of stuff, no pun intended, out in the lurch, if you know what I mean. Hi, sending you good karma. CC Orleans, what a cool name. I see some new names in here. Hit the sub button and hit the bell. Hit the bell. Let me see if they're about to start. It is strange. Pegasus, you're right. It's very strange. It's very strange. So it's 10:59. It's really sad, and I feel really bad for Vicky's mom. Just trying to figure out where her downward spiral came from, if you know what I mean. Because midlife crisis happens often, okay? It's not a new thing. But to uproot your life, jeopardize your job, sell your house, and get a man out of jail that you know is a bad dude. There's something else going on there. And she killed herself, it looks like. All right. It's 11 o'clock. Hang on. Is there an echo? Nobody's talking yet. You can just hear the background noise there. It's up all the way on my end. Let me look on here. And it's 100% on their newscast.
Oh, shit.
Did he say, oh, shit? Someone's going to get a trip to HR after this because he just dropped an oh shit, getting the microphones ready. This is great. Let's see if this guy drops one. Oh yeah, microphone guy is going to get a write-up. This is the biggest case in their history, and they're like, this is streaming everywhere, and you just dropped an oh shit. All right, here we go. Why is the screen black? They're going to have to fix their sound.
Now, we can give you a bit of a background on what led to the capture on Monday, but we're going to let Sheriff Dave Wedding take over this news conference at this hour, scheduled to begin at 11 a.m.
24 hours. I'd like to introduce people who've been involved in this since yesterday, and that's Gabe Guerrero. He's a Great Lakes Task Force Deputy Commander. Southern Indiana U.S. Marshal Dan McClan. Steve Lockyer, our coroner. Chief Billy Bolin. Assistant Chief Phil Smith. And ISP Justin Bean, who's part of our task force. As everybody knows, we're here today because we were seeking out this particular fugitive from Alabama who had been in on a capital murder offense and had been in Evansville for approximately 1 week. We were fortunate to have cooperation from law enforcement from Alabama, Mississippi, our U.S. Marshal Task Force, which is comprised of members of the Sheriff's Office, the Indiana State Police, and the Evansville Police Department, and the U.S. Marshal Service. Because of all the resources, we received a lot of tips. We got some good surveillance videos that showed a pickup truck that had been left at a car wash, and then a subsequent vehicle that they took and escaped in from the car wash, which was a Cadillac. We recently found out that they'd been staying at a hotel down the road here. It used to be a Motel 6, and now I think it's changed names. And they had a 14-day stay there. We were fortunate that during our investigation yesterday, an Evansville police officer who was just doing his good diligence of patrolling and being smart noticed the vehicle in the parking lot of the hotel and notified us immediately. So the task force members got together, they drove down there, set up surveillance on the hotel. Soon thereafter, the two suspects exited the hotel and fled out of the hotel parking lot northbound on U.S. Highway 41, turned in at an industry known as Anchor here in Evansville. They went through the parking lot, went through a grass field. The members of the U.S. Task Force basically rammed the vehicle and pushed it into a ditch. And we later found out, had they not done that, the fugitive was going to engage in a shootout with law enforcement. So by our quick thinking and our actions, sometimes people may call that unnecessary action, but that action may have saved many of my deputies and fellow law enforcement officers' lives. And that's why I represent the Sheriff's Office. I want to bring my people home, and I don't care about the fugitives' lives if it protects my people's lives. And here, I commend them for a job well done. They knew they were going up against a dangerous felon, a murderer, and we have photos of the weapons that were located in the vehicle. There were at least 4 handguns, semi-automatics, 9 millimeters, and this is known as an AR-15, which shoots .223 caliber round. So any one of these weapons could have been used to ambush our officers while they were attempting to capture a murder suspect. So I commend them for the quick and aggressive action. It probably saved a lot of chaos by doing quick action there. Once the vehicle crashed, the female suspect shot herself. The male suspect gave up when we approached the vehicle. They were both taken out of the vehicle. Life-saving measures was attempted on the female, but she suffered a grave injury and subsequently died at the hospital last night. We interviewed the suspect for quite some time. I don't want to get into all the details of that because some of that may be used against him, but we have him presently in our Vanderbilt County Jail. He signed a waiver of extradition to go back to Alabama. I've notified the sheriff there, and they are going to make arrangements to pick the suspect up and return him to the state of Alabama. Due to safety and security measures, we won't be divulging that to you. It won't be a public spectacle. When he leaves, they'll go out a hidden exit, and it won't be for public display. So we won't divulge the date and time when the Alabama authorities take the prisoner back to Alabama. Once again, I can't shout out enough praise to all the law enforcement here in our community for the hard work that they do. The task force, I was asked by a member of the media this morning if this was like an odd occurrence, and it's certainly not an odd occurrence. We arrest dangerous felon subjects every single week. We've been involved in multiple shootings in this community. We've shot people. We've been shot at. So this is law enforcement. This is today's law enforcement. It's a very dangerous occupation. So I hope the public realizes what we do is dangerous, and we have to take action to protect ourselves so each and every one of these fine men and women go home to their family and their loved ones, and we don't let the criminal win the war. So I appreciate you being here. That pretty well wraps up what I have to say. We have multiple members here. If anybody wants to add to what I said, you're welcome to do that. Or if anybody has questions you want to ask off this, go ahead. Yes, sir.
Have you located that money?
Yeah, we got a photo. They had about $29,000 left over. Here's a picture of the money that was left in the vehicle that we counted last night after we inventoried the vehicles.
And my second question, sir, James, the owner of, or the manager of the car wash, he first called police about the truck. Will he be receiving the $25,000?
Now, I don't know anything about the reward money personally.
It seems like he's resolved it.
Yeah, and but that will be something that we'll deal with. Right now, that's not on our
How did they
radar.
get the F-150 in the Cadillac?
What's that?
How did they get the F-150 in the Cadillac?
They purchased the F-150 and drove it here. And where they got the Cadillac, I'm not sure at this moment.
Do you have any idea what they were doing for?
Well, I think he said that he was just trying to find a place to hide out and lay low. And they thought, they'd driven long enough that they wanted to stop for a while, get the bearings straight, and then figure out the next place to travel.
Do you have any indication that they were visiting anyone potentially at the car?
No, we don't believe they have any relatives, friends, or acquaintances in Evansville, Banner County.
Body camera video yesterday?
There may be some dash or body camera video. We haven't got that far yet for examining and releasing that. And there may be, but like I said, that's a lot further into our investigation.
Sure, you speak to James Simpson, called apparently on Tuesday to report not only the truck, but also we've seen images facing like with tattoos on his arm. He was told, there's nothing we can do right now. It's not reported as a stolen vehicle. Those were his words. Why did it take so long to get a response?
Okay. Well, here, I'll let the police chief answer that.
So I'll back up just a little bit. On May 2nd, we had an officer on the evening of May 2nd proactively driving through lots, and he was running plates just to see if they were stolen. He actually was the first one to run this plate on the evening of May 2nd, and it didn't come back stolen, didn't return anything. On May 4th, we got the call to the car wash, and the first officer went out, and the caller was not on scene when the officer was there. We do have body camera footage of the officer running the plate, looking in the car. He ran the VIN number, and then he left because it was an abandoned vehicle that we can't tow that. It would have to be 48 hours at the owner's request of a place before we can tow it off private property. But the owner of a residence can choose to have it towed on their own. He called back a couple hours later and had not seen the officer on scene. So we sent another officer back out, met with him. The second officer that went out also ran the info and explained the process to him, that we would have to wait 48 hours before we could tow it. But if he wanted to tow it on his own, he could. And that's when they towed the vehicle, was on May 4th after that second run. From everything we've seen, there was no mention that this was connected to Alabama. On the 911 Gives Hope, or 911 audio, there was no mention that it was connected to Alabama. So at that point last week, there was no tie at all to this being involved with anything out of state. There was no mention to it being connected with them. So it was just an abandoned vehicle for us at that point.
Why he stopped at the car wash?
No, there's no reason. He just happened to pull in there. I think he's going to try to ditch the vehicle there.
By the 14-day stay, they were only gone for about 11 days, but you said 14 days.
That he had paid for 14 days to stay at the hotel. What's that? Yes. Uh-huh. Say that again? No, they said they were just trying to contemplate where they could go and kind of be discreetly away from the public's eye. Wigs. They had multiple wigs.
In this area presumably since May 3rd, almost a week. What other interactions have you been able to trace? If they were here that long, surely there were other
Well, to that point, just like yesterday, there's hundreds of tips that come in. Someone claims they've seen the suspects, but we've had people claim they saw them in Richmond, Indiana, and we just go through every single tip. But from my standpoint, we've got the case solved. We've got a person deceased, and we have another person in custody headed back to Alabama. That's my concern.
When we heard that when he was being pulled up, when he was coming out of the car, he said, "My wife was dead and I didn't do it." Do we know if that's true, and were they married?
They were not married. They shared the same last name. And our preliminary investigation, we don't believe he shot her. But once the coroner examines the body through pathology, he can make a determination of that.
Sheriff, how do you know that he was aiming Casey White to have some sort of violent confrontation with? Obviously, you showed that arsenal of weapons inside the car. Did you express your interviews with Casey any desire to do that?
Yes. He said that he was probably going to have a shootout at the stake of both of them losing their lives.
Were they trying to get somewhere? Obviously, he wanted to escape.
Their plan was pretty faulty. They're criminals. Their plan was faulty, and it failed. Thank God. Well, no. And once again, what was going through her mind, I have no idea.
Can you express how long that relationship has gone on between you two?
And that's under our investigation. We're not going to divulge that right now.
Sheriff, did he express any remorse for her death?
No.
Did you get the sense they were actually doing this together? He was not forcing her in any way?
Right. No, he was not forcing her. It was a mutual relationship.
Sheriff, can you clarify where she shot herself?
Well, we'll let the coroner talk about that after the pathology this afternoon. Well, we think this afternoon.
Well, we're going to initiate this.
Yeah. The autopsy will be conducted this afternoon, and they'll put a report out when they're ready.
Hey, sir, you don't know how they got the cover. How did you guys know to look for the cover?
No, we saw the Cadillac in surveillance video at the time they ditched the pickup truck, and then they left in the Cadillac. We're not going to charge him here. He has much more serious charges in Alabama, and we want to get him down there and let them take care of that.
Were any drugs found, Sheriff?
We haven't found any drugs of any significance.
Sheriff, you run a jail. How do you feel that somebody that worked in the jail, not in the jail, but somebody that worked in the jail did this?
Well, it's certainly an unpleasant thought. It's kind of shocking that somebody would do that. But remember, they're human beings, that they have their own minds. And for whatever reason, that they've developed some type of relationship. And so it's startling. But, you know, they're humans, make mistakes.
Sheriff, how many law enforcement vehicles were damaged?
Maybe 3 at most. And that's a small price to pay to stop a murderer. Just one had a slight head injury from banging his head inside the vehicle, but he's okay now.
Did she get the gun that she used?
What's that?
Did she get the gun that she used?
Well, I have no idea. If she could have had one from her agency, they could have stolen some, they could have bought some, and that's where we're got a piece of it. If you want to look, here's the pictures of the vehicle. Here's his and her vehicle here. And this was a ditch that really nobody knew, including the suspects. But this ditch actually helped us in the pursuit. Because as they forcibly ran the vehicle, it turned over on its side, and that disrupted his plan to try to have a shootout with law enforcement. And he even made that statement.
I know things like this don't happen very often.
Right.
Can you speak to that, just kind of what this was like for your department as well as maybe collaboration between everyone here?
Well, yeah, remember, in law enforcement, you can be a town like in Posey County where a deputy was shot in the head. You can be in New York City. You can be in Evansville, Indiana. Crime's everywhere. Unexpected crime, violent crime is everywhere. So we never go to work thinking we're not going to encounter an unusual or serious situation. I said our task force members routinely go out and arrest violent felons, murderers, and they get shot at, and they get attacked, and they get resisted. We get involved in pursuits. We're in a very dangerous occupation. And Evansville, Indiana is a fairly large community. I think people forget that. We're 180,000 people, and we're a hub of a very large demographic area. So we serve a population base of over 350,000 people. And it's conducive for criminal activity. And we have to prepare for that every single day.
Sure. Do you know anything about the provenance of any of those weapons? Is it possible that any of them were part of your service as a corrections officer?
It could be, but right now we will continue our investigation, but that's the least of my worries at this time. But we will try to find an origin for each and every one of these weapons.
During this cooperative interview last night, did he say anything along the lines of who planned this and how much planned it?
Yeah, but I'm not going to get into the interview with the detectives.
Where did the money come from? You know that?
Well, she supposedly maybe sold a home before she left town and got a large sum of money from that.
Was there any negotiation with Vicky before she shot herself?
Was there what?
Any negotiation? Did you have any communication before she shot?
I think she may have had a little bit of communication with our dispatch, possibly. I wasn't aware of it 100%. I think she may have been talking to our dispatch.
Was that a police ordered issue taser there in that photo?
That's from her duty belt. This is her duty belt she wore as a confinement officer, correction officer in her home state of Alabama. And she just took that with her when she left. In the car? In the car. They were in the vehicle.
After you guys took the video at the car wash, what was the indication? How did you guys figure out that they were still making it in the area?
Well, it was a long, drawn-out process, like the police chief said. It's just bits and pieces of information kept coming in and tying things together. And it wasn't till over the weekend where it looked like more of a possibility that they had been here for sure. And once again, after 6 days, it was just hard to believe they were here. I wouldn't think somebody on the run would stay in a community like Evansville for 6 days. But we brought the resources in and continued our investigation based on the information we had.
As far as in jail right now, is he being held in the general population or?
No, he's just in a holding area.
Now, they were at the hotel for quite a long time. Is there any indication at all that maybe the former someone who was them? What was them? I mean, this is a nationwide manhunt. Could they possibly get threatened?
Well, I mean, we don't have any reason to believe that right now. But once again, we're less than 24 hours in this investigation. We have a lot more of the puzzle put together. So just yesterday. Yeah, yesterday. A very short window of time. He had a couple bumps and bruises from the crash.
There's basically been a circulating side angle of the arrest actually taking place. Can you confirm that it was Casey White that did it?
I haven't seen the video, but Casey White was at the scene, so you got that for sure.
Also, can you get kickbacks to those posters when you can actually have a digital version of that for you to show us?
Possibly, yeah.
Sure. What was the approximate time after the crash that you shot yourself?
I think it was almost instantaneously. Before our deputies and task force members got to the vehicle, she shot herself.
I know you said it used to be a Motel 6. You say that actually maybe.
Yeah, I got it written down there. Motel 41. Yes, probably less than a mile south of here.
David's actually to your left.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm not sorry. I apologize. To the left. I'm sorry.
Oh, was that F-150 purchased
She had bought that vehicle. Yes.
in Tennessee or Alabama?
I don't know where she may have bought it in the state of Tennessee. I'm not sure.
Did she purchase it ahead of the escape?
No, I think after.
Casey White for $6,000 in Tennessee, same day they escaped.
Right. That's probably accurate.
Casey, you both shot.
Everybody okay with that? And I know you've asked a lot of questions, and as the sheriff, I think they're good media-related questions, but we're trying to take dangerous people off the street. And so a lot of the where they bought the car and where they did this and that is a minor concern versus us getting them off the street and making our community safe. Now, this investigation will go on maybe for weeks, and we will uncover things in the future that we don't have at this time. But like you say, we're less than 24 hours from the time that we were involved in pursuit and a serious crash and somebody losing their life.
Which agencies are involved in the investigation at this point?
Several. We have the United States Marshal, the Indiana State Police, the Evansville Police Department, the Vanderbilt County Sheriff's Office, many members of law enforcement from Alabama, Mississippi, some members of the FBI, and probably agencies in between. So there's plenty of agencies involved.
Sheriff, is someone law enforcement or any of the people involved in your mind, what about the forest district? 17-year veteran, corrections. How did that help this take so long?
Yeah, I'm not understanding the question.
As someone involved in law enforcement, Vicky White is a 17-year-long correction officer. Presumably, that had something to do with why it took so long, over a week, 11 days, for this to come to an end. I'm asking, with her expertise, have contributed and how?
No, that has absolutely no merit to what went on. Zero.
Sheriff, I'm sorry. The photos that you're releasing today, are they going to be posted on your Facebook page or?
We'll have photos available for media later. Yes. Does anybody else need comment? Have anything you want to say? Or do you have any questions of the other law enforcement leaders here? No, not to see the vehicle in person, no. What's that? I don't know if we do. If we do, we can maybe release that. That's not a big deal. It's a wig, a standard wig. This? Oh yeah, sure. You guys want to take those over there?
Long, short,
I think there was multiple wigs, like maybe reddish and blonde. Yeah, you wouldn't look good in it. Well, we thank you. If anybody needs any other questions for everybody will be mingling around for a while. And once again, keep in mind, less than 24 hours, there's a lot of questions that won't be answered until we have a much deeper investigation, get all of our notes and material together, and we also have privileged information that we can't share. Thank you very much. Thank you, Sheriff. Thank you. You all right?
24 News bringing you live coverage of that press conference where we heard from Vanderbilt County Sheriff Dave Wedding, also acknowledging the services of the U.S. Marshals Service, Indiana State Police, and EPD in apprehending Casey White, a fugitive on the run from Alabama with the help of a correctional officer for almost 2 weeks now. Kind of recapping what started in Lauderdale County, Alabama, and of course that's Florence, Alabama, about 250 miles south of Evansville. Casey White, a murder suspect at the time. Vicky White, a 17-year corrections officer veteran, retiring just the day before. They left on April 29th, which was a Friday, in a patrol car.
All right, I'm going to pause it right there. So I wrote a few things down during a press conference that we just watched, which was very ill prepared. Very ill prepared. No offense to the sheriff, but he's strutting his stuff. I don't think he even realizes all the work that the marshals had been doing, Don't get me going on the sheriff of Alabama. I mean, not of the whole state. You know who I'm talking about, Boss Hogg. My God. All right. First of all, I guarantee that the sheriff in Alabama is not real happy with this press conference because it seems like he needs to come watch this channel and he could have answered those questions. He acted puzzled where she got all that money. We've been discussing for over a week how she sold her house on a short sale. My goodness. I mean, I guarantee Brian Enton, you could knock him over with a feather right now. I could hear his voice. No, it seems like Vicky, I mean, she had a really good plan. I mean, she got him out, but it seems like in the midst of lust and love and biscuits and beefaroni and sex toys that Casey messed up the whole plan. So he said 14 days. They haven't even been missing for 14 days. And then he corrected himself. They had paid for 14 days. So they planned to be there a few more days. Now, in these cases, that's why I always say, I don't care about reward money. I don't care. People are like, oh, the reward, the reward, the reward. You're watching it unfold right here. The car wash guy said he called them multiple times. He Googled Casey White. He's been watching the news. And he said, that's him. He's given them surveillance cameras. And they act like the whole time they had an idea they were around there. They've been running plates. It doesn't take them 6 days to run a plate. I agree with Real Deal. If the state of Alabama, because that's who's going to give the reward, doesn't give it to Car Wash Man, we need to start a petition. Don't go, and I know that there's already people talking about, I'm going to do a GoFundMe for James. I'm going to do this. Don't donate to those because we don't know what's going to get to him. But yeah, a petition would work. Another case, it was in Iowa, Breasia Terrell. Fisherman came across her body. There was a reward out there from the FBI, and they didn't get it. Now, if something has changed in the meantime, let me know. Last I knew, they didn't get it. This is wild. This is wild. Okay, so they had $29,000 left, which means since April 29th, they have spent $61,000. What are they spending that money on? Welcome, CC Orleans. Thank you for becoming a YouTube member. The reward funds will be handled by Alabama. And I mean, when they put that kind of money up, they're hoping law enforcement solves it so they don't have to part with it. Now, in the case in Wisconsin, Jamie, I always say her last name wrong. I think it's Class. In Wisconsin, when she escaped her kidnapper, the woman that came across her on the sidewalk, she was given the reward money, the woman, but she gave it to Jamie. I mean, I can see a lot of backtracking here. And why would the authorities in Indiana care who gets the reward money? It's not coming out of the piggy bank in Indiana. But they're making sure to say, like, we solved the case. Is there some sort of reward for law enforcement somewhere that if they solve the case, they get something? Because they're making sure to say, no, they'd already been on this. They'd already been on this. I don't get it. I don't get it. I understand, patting yourselves on the back and giving kudos. It's a very dangerous job. They did get them. I do believe about the shootout, that was what was getting ready to go down. They probably had some pact between the two of them, Casey and Vicky. We're going down together. Hippie Soul. Apparently, Vicky had multiple fake IDs and alias. She'd been working on that for years. Yeah, they had been uncovering those, had been going on for a couple of years. You know? This is crazy. I mean, like I said, the shootout, I believe, why they predicted to be there for 14 days, I don't know. Casey, you will not get a refund from the former Motel 6 in Evansville. They're going to keep that money, by the way. Yeah, I want to hear from Car Wash Man real quick. Hang on. This is really perturbing me. They should have at least acknowledged him. This is the reason in cases people don't say anything, because they're going to get fluffed off. Not that anybody's expecting the key to the city, but come on. Hang on. Hey, Frojo, you just came in. RJ, yeah, that press conference, it's okay. Nobody is the all-knowing on this planet. So when a reporter asks you a question, well, I think she sold her house recently. Dude, we know in this community she sold her house. Oh my God. It's like he caught a couple of YouTube clips and tried to answer some. I feel bad for the guy. I feel bad for the guy. I do. All right. I want to hear from Car Wash Man, because credit needs to go where credit is due. He has explained this story over and over. It sounded to me like it was Brian Enton that asked the sheriff, will he be getting the reward money? And he's like, well, let me explain, because we'd already been running those plates. And he explained the whole, you can have it towed at owner's expense, or, I'm like, no. You did not have them on surveillance, dude, because you were running plates on that truck. Doesn't mean you were on to Lurch and Bangs. No.
Welcome back, everyone. We do have the major developments in a story making national headlines. The fugitives from Alabama have been arrested here in Evansville. We've been following this story throughout the day with live updates. We're going to give you another one right now with 44 News reporter Ella Shemwell, who has these developments. Ella?
Well, the scene is cleared now, but we are over here on 41 and Birch Drive. But I want to draw some attention to Mr. James Simpson. You are the manager at the Weinbach Car Wash, and you actually were the first one to spot both whites at the car wash, and that was last Tuesday, right?
Yeah, last Tuesday. Yeah, they were there last Tuesday afternoon around 4:30.
Okay, so he's pretty specific here. It's like now we have another case on top of a case, because this guy's got, so last Tuesday was the 3rd, but the sheriff happened to slip in there that they were running those plates on the 2nd. Okay. It takes seconds. You guys have the equipment. I understand what you're trying to do. You want kudos to your department. You got them. We're already saying y'all did a great job. Don't take credit away from James. I like this guy. He needs to run for mayor. And people that live in Evansville, the reward isn't going to come from Indiana. So never mind what I would do. The people in Alabama need to make a decision where that reward goes. Paris Ritchie, what a cool name. What on earth did they need to go to the car wash for? I've spent a lot of time in Evansville, and I'm shocked that they would choose such a dismal place to hunker down. It is odd considering, I was just there a couple weeks ago, actually. It is odd considering they kept saying that they've got to be in the southeast. They're headed to the beach. Of course, we have to hear about Mexico in every one of these stories when someone's on the run. Oh, they're going to Mexico. Hear it every time. I don't know. I thought the idiot was actually really there washing his car, like, playing husband. I mean, he called her his wife when all this went down yesterday. They're not married, but, they're playing house. I just think that they kind of figured they were somewhere that they wanted to lay low and they were waiting for things to calm down, but he got caught on camera. They have all these wigs and everything. He didn't even cover up his tattoos. Maybe they started fighting during the honeymoon and he's like, I'd rather go back to jail than back to the hotel with her. She's bossing me around. I don't know. It is odd. Thank you for the super sticker, by the way. That's amazing. Thank you so much.
So you saw the truck and you knew kind of something was off, right? And that's why you called it in.
It was sticking out of the bay. I knew something was out of normal. I kept watching. Every time I'd leave, it was there. Every time I come back, it was still there. Going back and forth. It was there all night. I got up at 6 o'clock the next morning to take my granddaughter to school. It was still there. So I took her to school and I thought, I'm going to investigate that when I get back. So I got back around 7:30. I actually noticed that the truck had Tennessee.
Now, hang on. He said it's sticking out of the bay. So he was just there. Basically, the sheriff said to ditch the truck. Why did he leave it in a car wash bay? Was he trying to get caught? There's many places that they could have ditched the car, taken the plates off of it. He even said, let me listen to that again. Hang on. This is crazy.
I got up at 6 o'clock the next morning to take my granddaughter to school. It was still there. So I took her to school and I thought, I'm going to investigate that when I get back. So I got back around 7:30. I actually noticed that the truck had Tennessee license plates on it. And I thought, oh my God, this could be this guy from Alabama. So I walked up casually and looked over in the truck to see if somebody's in there. Because I thought he could be passed out, asleep, dead, whatever. So there wasn't nobody in the truck. I opened the door, looked inside, the keys were in. I started the truck up. It started. So I know there ain't nothing wrong with it. So I Googled the local police department's phone number on my phone because I didn't want to call 911. It wasn't an emergency. So I called them. I said, send the car out. I've got a suspicious vehicle in my car wash. See, I will have one right out. So I go on about dumping the trash in the back and everything. He shows up, and I don't even know he's there. He runs the plate, says it's not stolen. He leaves.
And it turns out Tri-State Cone Company.
No.
Right.
He runs the plates and said it's not stolen. They said they bought the truck. He runs the plates, said it's not stolen. Yet we just heard the sheriff say we had been, what did he say, May 2nd, because he called on May 3rd. He said it. May 2nd, we were running those plates. Come on. Now it's going to make the sheriff's office and the powers that be that are there. I mean, they even upped the reward. The DA did. Now it's going to make them look bad if he doesn't get it because this office is going to keep telling him, no, we were already working on it the day before. Give him his money. We know what's going on here.
He shows up, and I don't even know he's there. He runs the plate, says it's not stolen. He leaves.
And it turns out Tri-State Cone Company.
No.
Right.
I go back to school, get my granddaughter, 10:30, she's out. I come back. I called him back. I said, y'all, how come you ain't been here? Well, the officer's been there. He called it. It's not, but we'll send him back to you. He comes back to me the second time. He gets out. He looks in the truck. He says, oh, my God, there's a gun lock. It might be a gun. There's no gun. He starts the truck. He tells me, he said, there's nothing I can do. I said, I can. I'll call Tri-State. I'll have it towed. That's what I done. I called Tri-State Towing. I had it towed. So, obviously, yesterday, I get a call from the United States Marshal Service in Alabama. They asked me, said, did you have a car towed to a tow yard? I said, yes, I did. He said, can you tell me what tow yard it is? I said, yeah, Tri-State Towing. So, okay. I said, that's that guy from Alabama. And he said, yeah, we think it is. We're not sure. We think it is. I said, okay. So I lost my train of thought.
Well, that's okay. So you knew it was them immediately because you've been keeping up with the news. You said the Tennessee license plate struck.
I watch Fox News all the time.
Yeah, exactly.
And I keep up, but I see all the interviews. I see them. They said they're down there in Tennessee in a cabin. No, they're. But anyway, I looked at my video. I seen the tattoo on his arm. I pulled this picture up on my phone of him down in Alabama. The tattoos match. They held up and they matched. So that's when I called the marshal back. I said, it's him. So I go back. He said, we'll have a team of marshals at your place in 30 minutes.
But how long did that take? They said that they went there. They said it's not stolen. Basically, it's on you. The sheriff kind of explained that too. It's up to the owner to tow it off his property if he wants. It's up to the owner. But he's sitting there explaining a totally different story. Yeah, we're just going to call him Pawpaw. T with Grandma Sherry, thank you for the super sticker. Ellie was running a lot of plates. The only connection they have to Lurch and Bangs is James at the car wash. Yes. They wouldn't connect them without him. No. Crazy. They're doing this to him.
He never showed up last night. He called me back, said, we'll be there at 9 o'clock in the morning. I said, okay, fine. So I go back and watch my cameras again. That's when I seen his girlfriend pull up in a Cadillac and pick him up. So then I called the marshals back this morning. I said, look, she's still with him. I got her on camera. He said, oh, well, you're the bomb. We need to see that video. I said, okay. So then 9:30, they're not here. So I said, I get on the phone to Fox News. I said, y'all want a story? Yeah, we like a story. I said, I got one. So I got a convict over at my car wash. I got him on camera. He said, you talking about the one in Kentucky? I said, no, I'm talking about the one in Alabama with the girl. He said, okay, we'll be right there. They showed up. They got there 10 minutes before the marshals.
It was us.
Fox News was there 10 minutes before the marshals. And they come up to me and said, you can't talk to the news. I said, okay. So this is where we're at.
So that was last, I think you definitely helped this case a lot. That was last Tuesday. So I guess after a week, what does it feel like to you, how this ended, I guess?
I just worry about a single cop by himself stopping it. It would not end well. It took a team effort because he had nothing to lose. If one cop pulled him over for a turn signal, a failure to yield or something like that, it wouldn't have been pretty. So, and this way, I'm thankful that nobody got hurt but them.
Exactly. Yeah.
They need to be, because, everybody should be scared of them. But if you see something, say something. This is how we get to here.
And that's definitely what you did. And we thank you so much. Well, we appreciate you, but we will throw it back to you guys in the studio.
I absolutely adore him. Adore him. Okay, so Fox News got there before, and he says, I watch Fox News all the time. He knows what's going on in the world. That's the reason he Googled Casey's picture. So the news got there before the marshals, who said, don't talk to the media. Well, he's talking to them now. He used his common sense and put it together. Paris, exactly. He left the car in a bay. Is there literally anywhere worse to dump a car? And let's not forget, James makes his money by people going through the bay and washing their car. You can't wash the car. You can't wash another car when there's one sitting in it. That's dumb. It's almost like he was trying to stand out. I think they should deputize James, make sure the people in Alabama get him the reward. Quit saying that you knew about this on May 2nd as opposed to the tip he gave on May 3rd. We know that's not true. We know that's not true. Because he said when they came out, they said, oh, it's not stolen. So basically, it's on you. You have to tow it at your own expense. He needs a new car wash, and he needs a fat check from the state of Alabama for the reward fund. Juicy Tequila Bobo. Brooks, don't you think they chose the motel they did because it looks like one of those no-tell motels where they ask no questions? Yeah, and they could probably pay in cash. That's kind of what I'm guessing. I'm not from Evansville. Anyone from there, if you know anything about that motel, I mean, do you have to show ID or anything? I don't know. I hope he starts making his rounds. I hope he does. He kept pressing on and pressing on. He had the surveillance. And like that one guy said, you're the bomb. You've got him, you've got Casey White on camera. Not only that, I saw his girlfriend come in here and pick him up. I've got that on camera too. Then they knew that they were in another car, which was the Cadillac, and they were patrolling around town and saw it at the lover's lair. His spidey senses were they were in full force. He deserves the reward. There is no reason for the people in Indiana to try to keep him from getting it. If they said they were already onto this on the 2nd, then that's very bad police work. Did you get the marshals involved on the 2nd? Because they would have listened. You forgot to mention that, Sheriff. And also, again, he was very ill prepared for that press conference. He was stumbling over questions. It's okay in a press conference to say, let me get back to you. I'm not sure about that. Or even say, I can't comment on that, just to look cool if you don't know. When he said, I believe she sold her house, we knew that day one. You should have let Car Wash Man do the press conference. James, I guarantee James knows this case like the back of his hand. I guarantee he does. Insane. I feel very bad for this man. All right, guys, I'm going to wind this down. Thanks for jumping back in here again. We're going to have 2 shows again tomorrow. Anything that happens on this, I'm going to do my best to go live as soon as possible. On the way out, please hit the sub button. Give it a like if you want. Make sure you hit the bell with the remind all. That way you get your notification when it's time to come back in. We have a Discord. We have a Facebook page. Come talk to us between shows. Thank you so much for being here. And remember, James solved the case. Law enforcement did the hard work. Obviously, they ran him off the road. They've got Casey in custody. He gave him the tip. He gave them the tip. Yeah, I'm not going to get involved with any of that. We'll just wait and see if the state of Alabama, whoever controls it, I don't know how rewards go down. Obviously, that's above my pay grade. If it gets to James, because nobody else had surveillance of him. Nobody else did. Nope. He deserves all the credit, and so do you for being here and for following this case and jumping in and being the best chat on YouTube and the best community. See you next time. Don't forget, 2 shows tomorrow. Anything that happens here, I'll jump in live. Hit the remind all, sub, like, you know the routine. You're the best. Bye-bye.